Last week, I spoke about audience building. This is the key to any successful business. If you are looking at tips on building an audience, go give that one a listen. Now, in this week's episode, I'll be interviewing Julie from Julie's Designs and Signs. And you guys will know Julie from all her thrifting adventures that she takes us on. I find so much inspiration in her thrift store finds and her creative ways of flipping and repurposing. I can't wait to get this interview started.
Welcome to the Rescued and Upcycled podcast with weekly inspiration, tips on trying new techniques, and overall real talk about owning your own DIY business. Now here's your host, Sonnet Ullenbrock.
Welcome back to Rescued and Upcycled. I'm your host, Sonnet Ullenbrock. I want to thank you all for joining me on my podcast. If you guys are new here, I do like to interview creatives and small business owners, and I love talking all things business. Now, this year, I've also decided to incorporate some decor and design topics to the podcast. And I'm hoping that I have been inspiring you along with my guest hosts. Now, like I said, in today's episode, I am going to be interviewing Julie from Julie's Designs and Signs. I first met Julie in Florida at a conference that I attended, and she was a speaker there. And then I honestly learned so much from her, and she continues to inspire me on the daily on how she's growing and running her business. So let's go ahead and give a big welcome to Julie. Let me add her on in here. Thanks, Julie, for joining us.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I'm excited that you're here. And I'm sure many of my viewers already know you, but for those that may not have found you yet, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am Julie, and like Sonnet said, I have a business. I do lots of different things, but the main thing is thrifting and then upcycling and styling. All of your thrifted finds. I just absolutely love thrifting and the thrill of the hunt, and you just never know what you're going to find. And really, I am just truly inspired by just the items that I find and what I can do with them. I know this is going to be asked about my accent. It always is. So I am from South Louisiana, but now I live in North Mississippi. We moved here a few years ago, and I am a mother of four and a wife, and just the busiest my life has ever been is right now.
Right. Yes. Oh, I can relate. But you seem to be even busier because you're building a house now too. So
Yes, we actually did a walkthrough yesterday, so we're less than 2 weeks out from it being done. So I'm trying not to even think about the moving process. I don't know how I'm going to do it and continue running the business and the life, but like I'm sure you do, you just make it happen.
oh, right. Yes. Prioritize and just take one day at a time I'm like, okay, what's most important right now? But I know the excitement though of like moving in and then you like want to still do your business, but I'm sure it's like, ooh, you want to get in and decorate. And so are you going to bring everyone on that journey of decorating your home as well? Are you going to do that? Or is that more, do you separate your home life from your viewers?
It just depends if it fits into my content or if I can realistically film at that time. Sometimes, like, you just have to get stuff done and it can't be filmed. I feel like short form content has helped with that a lot, where it's like I don't need to be so detailed. I can kind of just show before and afters if I don't have time to show the process. So I'm going to do my best. I feel like I haven't done good. I could have brought people more on this journey with me, but it just, if you've ever built a house, all I can say, it is the most stressful experience I've ever had in my life. And I didn't really necessarily want to share everything, but I feel like the actual moving and the decorating part will be much funner.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see. I know my mom watches you as well. And so
Mhm.
she always is like, oh, did you see? Because I am very busy, so I don't always get on
Again.
my like social platform, but don't worry, she's updating me on all the different content creators. So she's like, "Oh, Julie just did a walkthrough of her house." Like, I think you showed like your floors or something. And I'm like,
Yes.
"Oh." So, well,
Yes.
that's awesome. Well, congratulations and how exciting. But I would love to talk about how you initially started your business because I found you initially. I think I was like scrolling through YouTube and I found you and a couple other creators. So, what made or how did you decide to actually start your business?
I have to say, I didn't decide. Everything
Mm.
kind of just happened organically. I was a stay-at-home mom. Actually, I graduated from college with a graphic design degree, and I was an art director of a magazine, and I absolutely loved my job, but it was a 1-hour commute. And after I had my third kid, it just didn't make sense for me to do that anymore. So I became a stay-at-home mom, but I was never I wouldn't say I wasn't great at it, but I just always loved working and being creative. So I was just, designing houses. And of course, we had our thrifting adventures. I get the kids up on Saturdays, promise them donuts. We would go to the garage sales. Then I would
Yeah.
take them to the park after. So like everything I do now, I have always done. And of course, I would share the things I was doing on Facebook, and I started making stuff, and then people would ask me to make it. And when we moved to our larger house in Louisiana and I had a wood shop, I was able to kind of do more of that. And so people would ask me to make stuff. And then I was like, let me start filming and sharing what I did. And if you watch my first YouTube videos, they are awful. I definitely got better over time. I mean, just, I don't know, like things just kind of like slowly started to happen, which I guess is a good thing because there wasn't any disappointment. There weren't really any expectations of what I wanted this business to be. I mean, there is now, but at the time there wasn't. It just kind of things just slowly started to happen and I started to expand. And that's just how it all got started.
That's awesome. I know I look back at my first few videos and I'm like, I cringe. I was like, and the one video that I did have that went like what I consider like semi-viral in the beginning, it was the first time that I ever used music, and I didn't realize with my editing software program that you could manage your sound, like turn it down, the volume down. So
Yeah,
I was talking and then all of a sudden a clip came in and I had the music and I had so many comments like, "What are you doing blowing my eardrums out?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I felt so terrible." But then I'm like, I don't want to take down the video because so many
yeah,
people are watching it.
yeah.
So,
Yep, those mistakes definitely happen. And that's, I mean, the big thing is just to do it and you just learn as you go.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. So, how did you come up with the name of your business? Obviously, Julie. Did you just
I
you
wish
know
I would have thought about it more.
Me too.
But you know what? I will say that might be one of the things that makes me so successful is that I don't overthink it. I don't get analysis paralysis. I just like I get an idea and I just go with it. And sometimes that gets me in trouble. But I think at the end of the day, it keeps me going and it doesn't stop me from doing stuff because I just
Right.
don't overthink everything. So it's simple. I was making signs and I was designing them myself, Julie's Designs and Signs. That's
Okay.
how it happened.
Yeah, awesome. So I love it too because you're like, I really never knew that you kinda didn't know you wanted a small business, it just kind of came about. So
Actually, I didn't want a business because my parents own a business and I saw how much they worked and how much time that took away from us as kids. And I was like, I don't want to do that. But
mhm,
I do work from home, so it's a different situation.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I know I kinda wanna separate my business from my home, and, I think my mom said that you're building a shop like a shop or like a space on your property, which is so cool.
Yeah.
So, do you wanna talk about that at all or how you envision that working for you?
Yes. So the everything's going to be done at the same time. So the shop is already built. It was very important to me to keep the business on the property, but separate it from my house. Just for a lot of different reasons. Like if I pan the camera right over here, you would see boxes everywhere in my dining room. And it's hard to relax in your home when work is just absolutely everywhere. There's just no separation between home life and work life. And at our house in Louisiana, I had that. I would walk out my house and I would go into the shop and I would go to work. And then at the end of the day, I close up the shop and I go into my house and it would be home time. And just even it being on the same property, it really, there was that mental separation and it was
Mhm.
just really great. So I wanted that again. I know how much I work. I'm a little bit of a workaholic. So I did want to keep it on the property because I still have young kids at home. So that way we could still be together and I can be present, but I could work if I need to work. And also, I don't know what it's like in your area, but rentals is insane. So it just didn't make sense to go and rent something else to put my
Mhm.
business in, but had to separate work from house. And I'm very, very excited to have that again.
Awesome. I know. It sounds like you're living my life too, because that's exactly it. And my husband's like, how long are these boxes going to be here this time? And I'm like, oh, just until, whatever I'm doing. And we live in much more like we have a cozy home. It's not, it's an older home that we live in. And so it's not an open concept or anything like that. So yeah, there's lots of stuff everywhere right now, but I eventually want to do something very similar. So that's awesome. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah.
Uh, so your YouTube journey, like I just want to know, like, how did you all of a sudden decide I'm going to create a YouTube video?
Well, I think it was, again, people asking the question, how did you do this? And I saw, oh gosh, when I started YouTube, I go by what my youngest daughter. So I started right after she was born. So probably about 6 years ago. And YouTube was still pretty like basic. It wasn't too fancy or anything like that. So I felt like it was something that I could do. So one
Mhm.
day I just started filming what I was doing and editing it. And it took me about a year and a half for my channel to actually get monetized. So it was a lot of work for a long time with no payback really. And then finally things started to kind of take off after about a year and a half.
Wow, that's awesome. So was there like a breakout video or that you
Yes.
remember? Oh,
When I started kind of formatting my videos where I would do like 4 thrift flips. I'd pick 4 objects and or items that I had thrifted and I just flip them. And that format seemed to work really good and people really enjoyed it.
mhm. What and so was there, like, one project that you think that really, like, stuck out to you or
Not that I remember.
okay,
Not that I remember.
okay. I just was curious because I actually the video that I talked about,
Mhm.
that went, like, semi-viral, that's what pushed me over. So, but yeah, I never ever envisioned doing YouTube until somebody like, I mentored at a job that I was working at, I was mentoring somebody, and he encouraged me, and I'm like, "What the heck would I do with a YouTube channel?" He's like, "Oh my gosh, you could do so much," and
Yeah.
so I just, remember that one video, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I got monetized and I have enough viewers." It was just I just remember how exciting it was. So,
I got a question. Did you like tell people that you were doing it? Or you just kind of did it?
I just kinda did it. Well, so,
Yeah.
like, so I was, like I said, mentoring him, and every time I would be, like, helping him with his job, he would go, "So did you do it yet? Did you start your
Mhm.
channel?" And I'm like, "No, not yet." And so then I, like, started like, I was so afraid to I just felt like I don't know if you ever felt like this, but I felt like even though nobody was watching me when I was recording myself, I still felt like people were watching me at first, and then I'm like, just get over it, Sonnet. And so I just started recording and playing around with the camera and yeah. And so then I reached out to my brother's friend because I'm like, I don't know anything about editing. And then he recommended a program and I played around with that. And like I said, then I finally got halfway decent with it, but it took a little
Yeah.
bit. But yeah,
I think that's why it took me so long to get monetized, because I didn't tell anybody, because I had a decent Facebook following at that time, but it was all local people, and I didn't want
yeah,
anybody to know what I was doing. I didn't want anybody to be watching me. So there was like just quiet little thing that I was just doing on the side, and I
right.
just didn't want to tell anybody.
Yeah. Well, I was also like, because I don't know, like I felt so cringy, like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
they're gonna see me and like,
yeah.
are they gonna judge me? Like I thought, like
Mhm.
people that knew me, that's why
I know.
too.
That's why I didn't want to tell anybody. I was the
Yeah,
exact same way.
yeah. And it's funny now too. My daughter comes home and she's like, "Oh, what did you do now?" Like so and so came up to me and was like, "Oh my gosh, your mom is on YouTube." I'm like, "I didn't do anything, Caitlin. They must have
Yeah,
just found me."
yeah.
So
My kids are the same, but I have to say, I think like they like it.
yeah, yes, I would have to agree because she's like, and I just remember too, she's like, I won't consider you famous until you hit 10K. And I'm like, okay. So then when I hit 10K, I'm like, so now am I famous? She goes, you might have to hit a little bit more. I'm like, oh, now you're up in the ante here.
Yes.
But no, she tells me all the time, like, she's like, "Oh, I tell everyone, let's turn on my mom's YouTube channel." I'm like, "Please, Caitlin, I don't wanna be in a high school classroom being watched." So, yeah, but
Yes.
that's
They give us a
awesome.
hard time, but we know they're
They
proud of us.
Yes, absolutely. So, how has your channel helped your business?
I think it was, what started everything
Mhm.
for me, and just kind of opened some doors that maybe may have not been open had I been on YouTube. And I've been able to just work with some great businesses and
Yeah.
meet amazing people. And it's just been a fun journey.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Have you had any struggles or obstacles that you've had to overcome with, like, YouTube or your business?
Yes, like my husband has to talk me off the ledge probably every month. I feel like YouTube is the hardest thing in my business. It takes the most amount of time, it makes the least amount of money, and it's just very stressful. I hate editing.
Oh,
I mean, I could make projects all day long, but then you have to sit down and edit them.
yes.
And that part I don't like, but it's just a necessary evil. And I think people like think that you get paid a lot on YouTube, and that's just not the case for me anyway. Um, it's like I said, it's probably like the thing that makes the least amount of money for me. Um, but it's something that I'm just gonna still continue to do no matter what.
Right. And I don't know about you, but I've noticed this past year that the ad revenue has gone down
Yes.
substantially. Like, every month I'm like, "What in the heck? What am I doing
Mhm.
wrong?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I'm just gonna keep powering through," and I don't
It's
know.
all you can it's really all that you can do. It's very frustrating, and I honestly feel like YouTube hates me.
No, they don't.
Like, even if I have a video that does good, then they bring down my ad revenue. So it doesn't matter how many views my video gets, like it's kind of all of the same. The amazing thing though is sponsorships, like that has kind of what makes it make sense for me. And I wish viewers would kind of understand that and be a little bit more supportive of when YouTubers get sponsorships. It is a really, really exciting thing for them, because that is like the only money they get sometimes, because we have to give half or even more of that to YouTube of what we make. We can't control, anything on that end, but we can control what sponsorships we work with, do what companies we work with, and like really that is, what pays the YouTubers to keep putting out these videos for free for
Right,
the viewers. So
right.
that has been like a really great thing.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. I know I've been asked by a few companies, but I just never felt like some of them were a good fit, and so
Yeah,
I'm waiting for the right one to come along, so we'll see,
yeah.
but yeah, that's awesome, and yes, that's what, from everything I've read too, sponsorships is where, you can make the most amount of money on YouTube, but
Yeah. So y'all just please support y'all YouTubers in that. If you don't want to watch it, you can just, you can fast forward through it if you want. But
oh,
just
right.
know that's what's kind of keeping them going and keeping them putting out these videos for y'all because they're able to work with these amazing companies. And I do try to pick things that, I'll actually like and products that I use.
Right. Oh, absolutely. So, now where do you find, your inspiration when you're creating your videos? Like, or when you grab a piece, what inspires you, or where do you find inspiration?
I've always been pretty much strictly inspired by the things that I find. So a lot of times I have no game plan. I'm just going to go thrifting and I'm going to, just see what I can find. And then it goes from there. A lot of times I just get started. I usually have at least one project that I know that I want to do.
Mhm.
So I'll start with that. And then once I get started, the ideas start coming in. And sometimes I have a hard time stopping. I'm like, Julie, you've done too many projects. Now you got to edit all this. But it's like once I get started, it just gets going. So I'm really at the mercy of what I find at the thrift stores because that is what inspires me. I don't go into videos with a game plan of, oh, I'm going to do this theme or that theme. It's just really whatever I find that week and whatever I'm inspired by.
Okay. So how often do you go thrifting? Like, do you have set dates that you do this?
No, I mean, I love to go every day, but that doesn't happen. I mean, the Goodwill bins is literally 5 minutes from my house. So,
Oh,
like,
mine too.
yeah, I would love to go there every day, but you're like me, you're crazy busy and have a million different things going on. So I just don't have the time. But I would say I like to go at least 3 to 4 days a week
Okay.
to hit up the Goodwill bins.
Okay. All right. Do you hit up other thrift stores then too, or is it mainly the bins lately?
I used to go to a lot of different ones, but I don't know what is going on. I don't know if you have the same issue, but I feel like I've been having a lot harder time finding good stuff. My regular Goodwill, which is just a few minutes from my house as well, they up their prices and their shelves used to be fully stocked and they're not really anymore. So I haven't found stuff there in a long time. The bins just seems to be, since I don't have a lot of time, it just seems to be the best place for me to go and to find stuff. And also, that is my viewers' favorite place to shop.
Yeah.
Like they would like me to spend all day, every day at the Go events. They absolutely love it.
That's awesome. I know, I love the bins too. I could actually go there every single day myself, but, my husband would probably kill me because I find such good stuff every
Yeah,
time. He's like well, and it's so funny because I have him as my, like, moderator on the back end of
yeah.
my account, so all of a sudden he's like, did you just, like, go thrifting?" I'm like, "No, what are you talking about?" But yeah, no, he's like, "Oh, got it." So, where do you, when you do you get a boatload at one time? Because sometimes I find so much good stuff, I can't pass it up. I mean, is that how you feel, or are you pretty picky?
I feel like I am extremely picky
Okay.
because you have to bring the stuff home, you have to deal with it. I know what is worth selling and what is not worth selling. So I feel like all those years of experience has just made me super, super picky. I don't want to end up with a house full of stuff. You have to be able to have the time to flip all this stuff or sell
Mhm.
all this stuff. So yeah, I feel like I'm really, really picky. Actually, even after I finish my video, sometimes I put stuff back.
That's funny. That's good. I know because sometimes, like, my cart, like, I get some bigger items, and then all of a sudden I get out there and I'm like, "Oh, I put this in my cart. Why did I buy it?" Like, because is yours
Yeah.
by the pound too? Is that how it goes at
No, it's
Oh,
not. Mine is only by the pound for the clothing.
Oh,
Everything else is priced by the cashier. So it depends on the cashier. So I know which cashiers to go to and which ones to try to avoid.
okay, okay. That's interesting because at ours too, like if it's a really heavy item, I'm like, oh, I can't go to him because he
Yeah,
never gives me a deal. He'll be like, nope, it was like $1 something a pound, where I know that I can wheel and deal with one of the other ladies. So yeah,
yeah.
that's how it is.
Mhm.
But everything is by the pound. Um, but yes, it's hard when it's really, really heavy. So but awesome. So do you still go to estate sales? Because you were doing that a lot.
Yes. Oh my gosh, y'all. I went to one yesterday. It was a hoarder house. It was amazing. I couldn't film though because there was so many people. It would just been impossible. Estate sales are my favorite. That gets me super excited because especially if you find one that is your style, you know that you are going to be able to find so much stuff. And I just feel like a lot of these items are going to end up getting thrown away or something. And I just want to go and I want to rescue them and I want to give them a new life. Like these people have spent their entire lives collecting all of these items. And I just want to honor that. I want to get them and I want to find them a new home or find a place for them in my home.
Right. Right. Oh, I know that's exactly like the bins too. It's like it's the last stop for all those items. That's why too
Yeah.
I sometimes I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this would be so cool," and yes, it needs a little work or so.
Yeah. I know.
And
It's hard because you know it's getting trashed
it
and
is.
you just want to rescue it.
I know. And I don't know if you've heard that on your like people get really upset with me sometimes when I paint an item or I flip it or to give it new life. And I'm like, you do realize like this was on the way out. Or like when I pick things off the curb here in Wisconsin, they have like overflow days. So I
Mhm.
go around and I find some of the best stuff and I paint it or I flip it and people like literally freak out. So
Yeah.
I don't get it. I'm like, do you not get that it was gonna go to the landfill if I didn't do this? So
Yeah, I don't think I get that as much because I don't do furniture. People seem to be more upset about painting furniture, and the only furniture I do is for my own home.
okay. I there were like 2 different items recently. I found this. I honestly didn't think it was worth anything. And maybe I should be looking a little bit maybe I should be doing Google Lens a little bit more, but I had to get a video done and I'm like, "Oh, I have a perfect idea for this piece." And
Mhm.
everyone's like, "You realize if you would have just sold it as is?" And I'm like, "I already painted it. So no matter how much you guys yell at me, I'm sorry." I
But
and
at the same time, in your experience, do you think it would have actually sold? Because a lot of people say that, but then like we know better
right.
because we've been doing this for a long time. We know our buyers,
Right.
and so we know is it would have it realistically sold? Probably
Right.
not.
No, no,
Yeah,
and I did sell it, and I sold it for a good price in my booth, so I'm
yeah,
like, I'm still happy, and I
yeah,
saved it, so but yeah,
yeah.
so, um, I was gonna ask you too, do you try to find new spots to thrift, or do you like I know that you said that your viewers really love Goodwill bins, but do you try to find different thrift stores or
Yes, I have a friend, Lee, the turquoise Valentine.
okay,
She's online as well. So, and she lives a few minutes from my house. So we have become really good friends. And me and her like to go on thrifting adventures. It usually ends up with us getting lost or something crazy happening. We always say that we need a chaperone. I don't know why, but the craziest things happen when we are together. So me and her try to find stuff that's kind of more of a day trip. It could be a 3 hour drive where we go and we spend the day and we kind of find new places to thrift. But again, we're both very busy, so it doesn't happen too often. But
mhm,
yeah, I do try to go find places. I mean, I will drive 3 hours if you can tell me I can fill up my truck with
right.
stuff. Um, so yeah, I do try to find new places. It's just that with all the things that it does to take my to run my business and my kids' schedule, it's not even to go 30 minutes away. Sometimes really, really difficult.
Oh, yes. I absolutely understand with kids' schedules.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, especially if
Like
they're in
after this,
sports.
yeah, after I finish this, I have to go pick up Rain from school. She has an eye doctor appointment. Ryan also has a track meet today, and no doubt there's soccer practice somewhere because there's soccer every single day.
You're a soccer mom. Okay. I didn't
Yes.
realize that. Okay. I
Yes.
Oh, wow. All right. Um, well, I completely understand. So, because, life can get hectic and crazy. I wanted to find out though too, has anyone recognized you yet while you were out thrifting?
Oh, yes, definitely when I'm out thrifting. It's so funny because when people say you're famous, I'm like, only at the thrift store. That is literally the only place I ever get recognized, or maybe an estate sale occasionally, but especially at the Goodwill bins, because people will go there just because I do videos there. So they want to go check it out. So they get really excited when I happen to be there when they're out
Mhm.
thrifting. So only at the thrift stores do I get recognized.
Yeah, yeah. I know I was actually at Habitat over like I'm looking for this hutch for my, booth, so I'm at Habitat, and I just was my daughter was in the truck, she's like, "In and out, just go and check to see if they have a hutch and do not stay there any longer," and I literally, like, I was looking, I'm like, "There's nothing, that would work," so I'm just turning around, and all of a sudden this lady comes up to me, "Hey, Sonnet," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, do I actually know her?" Like, I'm thinking to
Mhm.
myself, like, "Do I know her outside of, like" and
Right.
then she's like, "I watch you all the time." I'm like, "Okay." So, but she was with her, like, grandson who must have been, like, 18 or 19, and you could tell he was, like, oh, like, appalled that she was talking to me. But she had to chat it up, and then my daughter's like, "I told you to be quick." I'm like, "Oh, someone noticed me, and we had to have a conversation." So,
Yeah.
um, do you ever include, any I haven't noticed, have you included any viewers in your videos ever?
I don't think so. I really try to never film other people in my videos. Like I really do try not to. I just know I wouldn't want anybody kind of like filming me without knowing. I mean, I guess if they're talking to me and I would be like, hey, you wanna, is it okay? But normally I don't. We just chat. Sometimes they want to take a selfie and we look in each other's carts and it's just like
Yeah.
chatting with a friend. But
That's
really, if you watch my videos, you will see I very rarely show people because I could definitely show all of the craziness and the drama at the bins, but I try not to. I try to kind of be discreet and not show any of that.
yeah. That's exactly I try not to when I'm at the bins, and I'm not very good at taping at the bins. I am trying to get better because all of a sudden my camera is like going over here and I am like digging and all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I just missed all of that because I just start digging." And so I'm trying to get better
Yeah.
at taping there. But yes, I agree about taping other people. I just didn't know if they're like, "Get me in the video," or "I want to be in your video." So, but
No,
I
nobody's
haven't.
ever asked. I did have a video where this is a lady that goes to the Goodwill bins pretty often, and I see her, and she also follows me. She found me a vintage Santa, and I walked in as she was checking out, and she's like, "I have got to show you something. You're gonna want to film this." And then so that that part I filmed. So if stuff like that happens, and they're like, "You need to film this," I will do that. But most of
Yeah.
the time, I try to be very respectful and not film people.
Right. Okay. So all these items that you are thrifting, and yes, you do the upcycling. Do you sell them all on now Whatnot, or what do you do with the items? Or where do you get your items for Whatnot too, I should ask?
So this is kind of my rule because it was difficult when I started doing Whatnot, how to separate it out because I also have the vintage drop on my website, which has become very popular.
Okay.
So I have to keep doing that. So my rule is if I show it on camera, it usually goes in the vintage drop.
Okay.
And then if I thrifted other places, because a lot of times I go thrifting and I can't film, or like sometimes I just don't want to, because as you said, it's difficult and it could be stressful. And sometimes I just want to shop. So if it's items that I haven't shown on camera, then it goes on Whatnot. Um, and then anything that I upcycle in my videos, that also goes on my website. So I kind of have rules. Now, recently I went to the bins because Whatnot is one of my sponsors, actually. And I said in the video, okay, everything that I purchased today will be on Whatnot. So I let my viewers know if you want any of these items, this is where they'll be. So I just kind of created little rules for myself, and that's how I figure out where stuff goes.
Okay. Awesome. Do you I I get like when I've done a few whatnot sales, and I feel like it's very time consuming, like to pack everything up at the end. Like I just feel like it's very different than packing like an IOD order. Like because you're grabbing all the items, you're trying to find the right box to put it in. Do you have somebody to help you, or are you doing this all yourself?
So I definitely started off doing it all myself, but it got to the point where I had to hire somebody. Like there was no way to keep up with everything and
Mhm.
ship. So I have somebody that comes in a few days a week. Well, I've been through a few people, but right now I have a senior in high school and she's so sweet. She comes in and she kind of ships everything. But last week she had the flu. Girl, oh my gosh.
Oh no.
I had the vintage drop. I did this huge wood knot sale where I call it bag it up and get it out because, we're moving and I got to get rid of stuff. I had over 50 items in this wood knot sale. And then we had the IOD release. I
Right.
had to, I had to ship all of that myself.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. Yeah, so I actually hired a helper as well, and when I hired her, I knew she was pregnant, but I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I have to get as much out of her like while she's here."
Yeah.
And she now is on maternity leave, and it's been now my mom has been helping me with some stuff. So,
Yeah.
but
I
I
feel like shipping is definitely one thing you can kind of hand off. Now, I do enjoy shipping because I feel like everything else takes so much concentration and creativity. And like, I feel like I can just put a podcast on and zone out and ship. So I do enjoy it, but I feel the opposite of you. I feel like Woodnot is the easiest thing. Like I
really
love it and I feel like it's so easy. Maybe because I've shipped the vintage drop so many times and I feel like that's more complicated. But
okay.
would not, everything is in a bin that I just sold. It's right there. I don't have to search for it. Um, I feel like it's so easy to list everything. It's so fun. Like I feel like Whatnot is the funnest part of my job. I absolutely love doing Whatnot. I have fun with it. I have theme sales. I dress up. I don't know. I just absolutely love it. Every part of
Aw.
it.
Yeah, I don't think listing like, I think it's the end where I'm like, "Okay, now I have to find a box," and maybe that I have to get better at that because to find a because sometimes there's, like, 5 items in a box, and so, like, at least with, like, IOD or whatever, it all goes into I
Yeah.
have specific things I put those in, so I think
Yeah.
that's the one thing, but, I've definitely gotten better with it, but maybe because I haven't done as many either, so I've
Yeah.
only
Well,
done a
that would
few.
be a good thing to hand off. Just don't even do it.
Yeah, don't even do it. Like, my girl Brie, I'm hoping she comes back. I keep on, like, messaging her, like, "You're really gonna be coming back, right?" Like, 'cause I feel like she's gonna wanna stay home with that baby. I don't
Yeah.
know.
You need to
So
find like maybe your daughter has a friend or something.
oh,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I've
Because
asked.
I did actually hire somebody and employees is like a whole nother thing to running a business. That's why I don't think I want to be any bigger than I am because I don't want a bunch of employees. But yeah, I hired somebody and she was great for a week. Then she found out she was pregnant and she was so sick, she never came back.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh my god.
And then so I had to find somebody else, and like she's probably gone off to college, so I really need to maybe start looking for somebody else. And yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Oh my gosh, girl. Yes, I know. And so like, but I keep saying to Brie, like, hey, like, please let me know if you're not coming back so I can start looking because to find like I've had a couple different helpers too, and it's yeah. I
Yeah,
missed a helper. Like they really
yeah,
helped me a lot. So
yeah.
I yeah. So and so, yeah, so I'm gonna have to maybe get on the whatnot train a little bit more, maybe, and just do it. So that sounds fun though. Themes and you dress up. Like,
Mhm.
give me an example of what you've done recently.
Well, the funnest one I've done is I found this dress at an estate sale. It
Oh,
was purple and like beautiful. And so in the video, I'm like, I think I'm gonna buy this and I'm gonna wear it in a whatnot sale. Tried it on like right before the whatnot sale. Luckily it fit because I had advertised, that I was gonna be wearing this dress and made it a big thing. Never thought to try it on.
oh my god.
It fit me so perfect though. It was crazy. So it was I called it a fancy sale.
Okay.
And so, stuff was like a little bit more girly and floral. And then I wore this dress and it was so much fun. So I try to, if I'm having a blue and white sale, I dress in blue and white. I do think theme sales work really good because you literally have all of kind of the same type of item. So if somebody is interested in one thing, they're probably interested in everything that you have.
Okay.
So theme sales do work really good. Like the bag it up and get it out sale, it was all kind of, you know, like DIY items or similar items. So anytime I can do a theme, I like to, if I'm gonna have a Christmas sale, I'm wearing a Christmas outfit. I just like to dress up because like what other opportunity we have, to do that. Like for the IOD release, I don't know if you saw my sweatshirt. And I didn't even know I was going to be, matching the IOD release. I just saw this shirt. And I was like, that is perfect for the spring release. And I would probably never wear that, out in public, but I love just dressing up and having fun, when I'm on camera.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. So I'll have to try a theme next time is what I'll have to do. Yes. So do
Yeah.
you do sales like weekly then? Or
Yes. I
yes.
try to
What
do one every single week, and I'm trying to sprinkle in even twice a week. I'm telling you, I love it.
okay. Do you love it too because it generates a good amount of money on the sales too, I'm assuming?
Yes, it's definitely been a way, it's added extra income to my business. And especially since I do work with Whatnot and they're one of my sponsors, like that's,
Mhm.
another way. And it's just I feel like it's an easy way for me to buy stuff and quickly get it out without having to, like, I don't have to figure out what to price it at or how to sell it. Cause some stuff you buy and because you like it and you're like, how am I going to sell this? Like, I feel like it's going to be so much work to sell this. And it's like, I don't even have to think about any of that stuff on Whatnot. It's just really easy and fun.
Okay. And do you start off at all dollar starts? Is
Yeah,
that what you're doing? Okay. And you always have bidding wars that get drive up the price, or have you sold stuff at a dollar and you're like, "Dang, I could have gotten a lot more out of
I've
it."
definitely sold stuff at a dollar,
Okay.
but in the end, it evens out. I feel like most of the time I'm happy with what stuff goes for. Sometimes I'm disappointed, but it's just like at an estate sale. Like sometimes you pay higher for stuff and sometimes you pay lower for stuff, and it
Yeah,
all kind of evens out. And Whatnot is the same thing. Sometimes stuff goes for lower than what I would like, and some stuff like I'm like, oh my, I feel bad. Like it went for so high. I'm like, oh my gosh, did that just happen? And it just all kind of evens out.
evens out. Okay, alright. Have you ever considered, like, having your own storefront or a booth or anything like that, or do you just like what you're doing at this point?
Absolutely not. I can say I absolutely do not want a storefront. I would have liked to have a booth when I was in Louisiana and I wasn't selling online. I would have loved to have a booth, but it just wasn't an option in my area. I could do it here, but it just wouldn't make sense for me because it's so time consuming. And then, like I said, I saw my parents run a business and I've seen other people have businesses where you have a storefront, you have to show up. Everybody else can be sick, you can't be sick, and whatever is going on, you still have to show up at that
Right,
physical spot. I have to do that the same way, but in my house,
right.
and it's very different. So, and then why would I want that overhead?
Right. No, absolutely. Have you thought about possible, like, future pop-ups at your home, or do you not want to have people at your no. You
No.
should no. No. Okay.
Maybe if I was, back in my hometown,
Mhm.
I just feel like it's different over here. I just don't know people, I grew up with everybody back
Yeah.
there. It's just, I don't know, it's just different. And yeah, I don't think I'd want people come into my house. I definitely am looking for more separation
Right.
for that.
And I know that I remember you saying that, like, it was a really big transition from moving from where you were to here. I mean, are you liking it now, or do you wish that you'd be back home?
No.
You don't wish you'd be back home?
Oh, and if I wished I would be back home, I would be back home.
Okay.
Um,
I always,
no.
I always felt bad, like, because I always thought that you really loved being there.
Now look, that's where I'm from, and we have a camp there, and we enjoy going there, and that's where our family's at,
Yeah.
but it was a very small town. You're
Okay.
talking about an hour drive to get to Home Depot.
Oh,
And then I never thought, listen, I've never thought I'd leave South Louisiana. But then we moved here. We decided to give it a year because, we didn't sell our house in Louisiana. We decided to give it a year. And after being here for a year, I didn't feel like I could go back to South Louisiana.
oh,
Our kids just have so many opportunities here, and we didn't have to convince any of them to stay. They saw it as well. I saw a future where my kids could do anything that they wanted and live next door to me
yeah.
and not have to travel like my husband did. My husband was never home. He never lived in that house in Louisiana. He was always traveling for work, and he always had, and so had all of his brothers. And so we just saw a better future for our family here. And we have 4 seasons. It's not hot and muggy all year long. I absolutely love it here and have absolutely zero regrets.
Okay, good. Because I'm always felt like, "Oh my gosh," I just felt I don't know why, I always thought that, like, maybe
Well,
there was
because yeah, I mean, I love the place and I loved my home, but at the end of the day, there was just things that were more important than that. And we go back and visit, and it's great.
right. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad to hear that because I'm like, "Oh my gosh," I just always like because you acted like you loved your home so, so much, and then you talked about, like, your pi was it the pillars? You called it something about the pillars in the front of your home and people hiding behind them. Didn't you do a video about that
Oh,
where
that's in this house.
Yeah, that's that house. Okay, yes,
This
yes,
house
yes.
that we're in now, the murder columns. Yeah.
The murder columns, yes. I remember
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my gosh." I was dying laughing. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
girl."
actually, the house, people think it's crazy that I'm selling this house, but they don't understand this house was always temporary. I did not see this house until after we closed on it, and
Mhm.
I cried when I saw this
Oh,
house.
you saw it after you closed?
Yes, because of the situation we were in, I couldn't come up here. Houses were selling in a day. Like there was
Yeah,
no shopping for houses. So my husband handled everything, and he just tried to find us a house that we could all fit in and be comfortable in. And I get it. I get it. But when I saw this house, I was like, oh, I can't believe we have to live here. Now I've turned it into, just like I do with everything, I turned it into our home, and we're very comfortable here, and it's been a great house. But this was always a temporary situation. I made sure my husband knew that I was not permanently staying in this house.
okay. So, well, that's good. And that he was on board, and, so did you always know you wanted to build your own, or were you no, you didn't, so
I would have preferred to purchase something and slowly remodel. Um, that would have been a lot cheaper
okay.
and probably less stressful because I've always remodeled, and you have time to think about it, and you could bring the samples in the space and see what you like. And building has been a whole different thing where you don't see anything together. Like I was giving zero samples. I just literally had to imagine how things would come together. But in the 3.5, 4 years we've been here, we've looked at a lot of houses. I have not seen a single one that will work for us, that I could see my family living in. Also, everything's 2-story here. And coming from South Louisiana, we were used to a single story. So after many years of looking, we just kind of decided that building was our only option to get exactly what we want.
Awesome. Yes, it's beautiful, I like the tour that you gave, so I love the open concept, and I love all the colors, I love the floor that you chose too, so that's awesome. So going back to your business, now, where do you see yourself in, like, you said you kinda wanna keep it as is, the size that
Mhm.
it is. Do you s what do you see or dream of for your business at this point, though?
I kind of want to, keep going the direction that I'm going. I have some other things that I'm working on that I'm hoping kind of take off and don't like right now a lot of stuff that I do require me to be on the camera, pushing and selling and connecting with my audience, which I love. But if like this business is going to work long term and maybe even have my kids help me, there has to be things that I'm doing that don't require me. So I'm like setting up stuff like that, that I haven't even talked about, because I want them to just kind of go off on their own and do their own thing and maybe be something that my kids can handle. I am working more on my blog. I started a blog, I don't know, like a year and a half ago. So I'm working a little bit more on that as well. It's been fun because it's kind of like short form content where you don't have to kind of film the whole process. You can just kind of take pictures throughout and add that in. I always have loved thrifting and styling. I mean, that's what I've always done. And now it's super popular. And people love it. And I'm like, great, because I love doing it. So I've been doing a lot more of that, where if you watch my videos, I'm not actually flipping everything. I'm also just showing you how I style some of the items that I thrifted. So that has been fun. I love that. And I don't know. I feel like my business has always kind of grown organically, and I just listen to my audience and what they want. So I feel like my audience is going to tell me, what direction I need to go in and what I need to do next. So I'm just kind of listening to my audience, and we'll see where it goes. But for now, I'm just going to keep going with what I'm doing. I have no plans of adding anything on right now. I feel like I probably got way too much going on.
No, you do, just like me. So I know, like, one thing, well, since the conference that I attended in Florida, and I'm trying to remember who talked about adding a blog in. I think it was like the turquoise iris. I think she talked about, like, if you're doing videos, you might as well add a blog in.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not been able to slow down enough to like make time to do that. So like it's
Yeah.
been on my radar for like a year, and I'm like, if it happens, it happens at this point.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would be good for like the affiliate links and things like that too. So
Yeah, especially with yeah, for sure. And with building the house, like people are asking me already, where you got this, where you got that. So it'll be a good place to just keep everything. Or I did a blog on my paint colors, because that is a question I get asked all the time. So I can just simply send them the link. They can see all the paint colors that I have. So it's been good for things like that. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. It's just another thing on your plate. And I get access all the time, and you probably do too. And I'm wondering, because I feel like you have a lot going on. Like, how do you do it all? Like, how? I feel like you do so much.
oh, you're asking me now?
Yes.
It's been, I have specific dates that I do like everything, but yeah, it's a lot of juggling. Like, and I do have somebody that edits my podcast for me. So I do have somebody, and thank God I have her, because all of a sudden she's like, "Hey, are you going to tape?" Like, and I'm trying to get ahead. I'm trying to work ahead of like my podcast. I'm trying to get like multiple podcast episodes taped ahead. So like I hate flying by the seat of my pants. And I don't know, like sometimes with my YouTube videos, it's like, oh shoot, I gotta do a YouTube video. Now I have to like get inspired. And then I go out into where I have all my stock or my inventory, and like I'm trying to
Mhm.
drum up, so I'm just trying to get ahead. But I do have set days of, and now I have help. So that's how I get it all done. But people ask if I sleep. They do. They're like, "Does
Yeah,
she ever sleep?" Yes, I
I
do. And
know.
if I
I know.
don't,
And yeah.
I'm very cranky, honestly.
I,
And I have to like, also I have to eat. Like my daughter's like, she's getting hangry. So
yeah. I know. I always say I wish I was one of those people that did need a lot of sleep. Like I want to be one of those people so badly that can function on 4 to 5 hours of sleep, and I am just not. So I do have to I prioritize sleep, but sometimes it's not possible because you just got to get stuff done. And then I also prioritize working out. Like that, those are two things that kind of keep me going. But yeah, I just look at you, I'm like, how did she do everything? But probably the same thing as me. You just do it. Like it
Yeah.
got to get done. You just got to do it. I do block out my days too, where I have like specific days to do stuff. Wednesday is my YouTube day, Thursdays usually like Thursday's my whatnot day, but also I'm dressed. So like any talking parts or sponsorships that I got to film are filmed on that day where I'm already dressed. I might just like, change outfits and film a bunch of stuff. And so like that has helped a lot, just like sectioning out my days where I'm just concentrating on these certain tasks. But
Absolutely. Yes. No, I know. And, just trying to keep up though with like emails, like, or people like, customers and
yeah.
asking questions. And I'm like, if I don't answer them right away, sometimes like I forget, you know what I mean? Like I see it, I have to answer it right away. Otherwise, I might not.
Oh, so this is how I fixed that because I was having the same issue. I actually disconnected the email from my phone because same thing would happen. I would be on the go, I would see an email, and then I needed to be at my computer to deal with it or something like that. So I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Things are getting missed. So it's only on my computer when I have time to sit down and deal with it. I also cannot answer Facebook messages. Like it's too much. So I have an automated message that says, if you need something, please email me at my email address, because you just cannot answer all of the things, all of the places. So I try to send them to just one place where I sit down and I answer and, take care of everything at one time. So that
That's
has
a
helped.
great idea
Yeah.
because that was the other thing too. Cause then I'm like, I remember seeing like a message. I'm like,
Oh,
now
you
where
can never find it again on
no,
Facebook.
you can't.
Never, never.
I don't know where I just saw that or, and
Yeah.
I'm like searching and I spend so much time because I'm like, "Oh gosh, darn it." But
Yes. So sometimes I do go through and look through my Facebook messages, and if it's something, important that I need to deal with, I tell them, I'm like, look, I will never be able to find this message again. I need you to email me, here. And so I just send them over there because I want to take care of them, but I know I will never be able to find that message again on Facebook.
right, right. Oh, I know. So yes, very similar here. So, I do have to ask though, because my mom thinks that Rin is the cutest.
Uh-huh.
So she is just a little ham, like always, posing for the camera. My mom's like, I just have to go see what Rin's doing today. Do you feel like your views go up with her? I feel like it helps. It's
Yeah. They do. It's funny because I actually posted this one time. Like I posted a picture and there was like, 10 comments. And then I posted a picture of Ren an hour later and like 300 comments. I'm
oh
like, okay, I know who y'all really here for.
yes. My mom though, she's like, "Oh my gosh, she's so funny." Yeah, so she's a cutie.
Yeah. She
Um,
loves being on camera. She loves making videos. I have hundreds of videos that she made because all weekend when she's, off of school, like she makes videos. She just loves creating content, and the stuff that comes out of her mouth, it's hilarious. She's just so funny. If you haven't seen the video of me bringing to her to IKEA the first time, girl, you have got to go watch that. She was so funny. She was so funny.
oh my gosh, I'll have to check it out. So how long ago was it?
Maybe like last month.
Okay, I'll go
It's
back and
I
check.
think it was a reel. So if you go look at my reels, you'll probably be able to find it a lot faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, she really wants me to like make her own TikTok page. So I don't know. It's something to think about. There's a lot of things you got to think about for that.
Right. Oh my word.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's yeah, that's cute though. I love it. Aw.
And she
Uh,
loves thrifting.
yes.
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 And
And
she knows my style better than my husband. Like I will bring her thrifting and she will, pick stuff out. And yeah, I'm like, add it to the cart. I love that. Add it to the cart. She loves thrifting.
aw. So does your husband go thrifting with you?
Yes, he does. He enjoys it, but I don't know. He just can't. Occasionally he'll pick out something that I like. But after 20 years, I don't know. He still can't seem to really understand my style. I don't
Yeah.
know. But yeah, he loves coming thrifting, and I like it because if he drives me, then I can, work on my phone and stuff like that. But yeah, he enjoys it. He does not like to be on camera though.
Oh, he does.
Occasionally, I'll show his feet or his hands if he wants to show something, but he does not want to be on camera.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. I interviewed my husband on a podcast
Mhm.
and so, like, I had actually well, he had a couple beers when I asked him if he would do it, I'll be honest. So he's like, "Sure," and then all of a sudden he's like, "I agreed to that?" I'm like, "Yeah, don't you remember?"
Yes, you have to now.
I'm like, "I told everybody about it." So then he's like, "Okay." And, I said, "I'll give you the questions ahead of time like I always do, and you don't tell me what the answers are, and we both were on camera." And it was a lot of fun. So, but, he's not really into thrifting with me, but he is now, a good he, like, will tell me when he sees good garbage on the curb. He'll be like, "Hey, go over by such and such a place and find
Yeah.
this." And sometimes it's good, but most of the time I'm like, "Oh, honey, that's junk." That's
I
true
know.
junk.
I don't. So your husband's the same. I'm like, you are with me
Yeah.
all the time. Like you see all the decorations around the house. I don't understand.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, and the other day okay, so here in Wisconsin, we get a lot of snow, and we have a cabin up north, which is, like, 3 hours north, and even more snow up there, and, in the winter, we typically don't go up just because we winterize our cabin, but he wanted to have this little snowblower for up there for our deck, and all of a sudden he comes home and he's like, "Look what I found in the garbage." I'm like, "Does it even work? Now we're gonna have to get rid of that junk that you just picked out of the garbage." He's like, "Oh, so I'll put it back on the curb." I'm like, "Oh, honey." He's like, "You're probably right. I should have left it." There were 3 of them on the curb though. I'm like, "Why would they get rid of 3 snowblowers?" Obviously they don't work, but we'll see. He's gonna bring it up there. We're gonna test it all out and get it working. I'm like, "Okay." But I love it. But yes, one of the comments so Jamie Ray and Zeb,
Mhm.
one of the questions a viewer asked was, "Is Craig gonna be competition for Zeb?" And I'm like, "Absolutely not." I don't think that will ever happen. So I can't see, him going and grabbing a cart and trying to fill it up like Zeb does. So,
Yeah,
but
I think it would be fun to have him on camera and paint with me and stuff. But I don't know if he'd ever do that. He likes to be behind the scenes, and just like handle all the stuff that I don't want to deal with. He actually
right.
stays home now, and he takes care of the kids and the house and all the business stuff that I just don't want to deal with.
Right. Oh my god, that is so awesome. I would love it if my husband would do all of that because I'm a creative. I don't
Yeah,
wanna deal with any of the taxes, that kind of I just if you even knew,
yeah.
like yeah, like, all that stuff, I don't like at all, so
And as you grow, it gets more and more complicated.
oh, yes, absolutely. So, well, good. Well, I've had so much fun chatting with you today. And, I'm so excited that my viewers definitely got to, well, I'm sure most of them knew you already because you are, famous. But where can my viewers find you if they want to be inspired by you as much as I am?
Well, I'm lots of different places, pretty much on every platform. Julie's Designs and Signs. That's also my website, juliesdesignsandsigns.com. And then I've recently kind of started adding Julie Thrifts in there. So I have a YouTube channel called Julie's Thrifts. I have a Facebook page called Julie Thrifts. And because people have just loved the thrifting so much, and you know how YouTube is, they like to niche you down.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to separate it out where I have one place to put my thrifting and one place to, put more of the DIYs and things like that. So that has worked out great. And then I did the same thing on Facebook. Although on Facebook, I share everything. So if you're following me, Julie's Designs and Signs, you're going to get everything. You're going to get Ren, you're going to get my home life, you're going to get whatever I'm doing, you're going to get all of the videos. And then a Julie Thrifts is just strictly, thrifting stuff. But I post
Awesome.
still all the same stuff on Julie's Designs and Signs. That's what I love about Facebook is they don't like niche you down like other platforms. Like you can post whatever over there. So I love that I've been able to share more of my life over there on Facebook.
Right. And you've grown tremendously too on Facebook. So that's
Yeah, I
awesome.
just hit 250,000 yesterday.
No way. That's
Yes.
awesome. Because I remember, well, back when you were in Florida, you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to be focusing on. And I plan on getting, I don't even remember what your goal was, but that's
Yeah.
awesome that you've hit that. So
Yeah.
just consistently posting videos and different content, reels. And so it's really,
Everything. Like I post I post a lot. And that's the key, consistency, literally on every platform. That's what everybody's going to tell you, and it's true. And it's it's difficult. That's why not everybody does it, because life happens and then it's hard to be consistent. So those people that can stay consistent when life happens, those are the ones that are going to succeed. So just stay consistent, even when YouTube brings your money down and they're not giving you any love or sharing your video out. Like you just ride through it. You just keep being consistent, you keep posting there. And then on Facebook, the thing right now is reels. Like
yeah.
if you're posting reels, that's what they're pushing out to a new audience. So everything else that you post on Facebook, they are sending it to your current audience, a very small amount of your current audience. But reels, they are pushing out to a different audience. So then you can find new people to come and follow you.
Yeah. That's awesome. I know I have to get back on creating more reels. So again, with juggling so much stuff, like I'm consistently posting every single day, but you do one reel per day?
Uh, at least one. Sometimes I like to post more.
Okay.
And everything is content. I'm going to Walmart, I'm filming a video. I'm going to the Dollar Tree, I'm filming a video. I take all of my longer videos and I cut them up into shorter videos. I see something cool at the thrift store, all you have to do is film that right there. Hey guys, look what I found.
Yeah.
So I just like try to think of everything as content. And once you have a reel, you can post it on Facebook, you can post it on YouTube, you can post it on Pinterest, you can post it on TikTok, you can post it on Instagram, you can post it on, I don't know, I'm trying to think, like a lot of places.
Yeah. Everywhere.
Oh,
You get, because
yeah,
they all seem to like it. Yeah. So
yeah.
awesome. Well, great tips. Thanks. Yeah, I'll definitely be back on the real train. So I'm gonna be on Whatnot now. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to get Whatnot in there with how busy
Well,
I am. So I'm gonna
get your shipper in place first, so you don't have to deal with the stuff you don't like.
right. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, good. Well, again, I want to thank you for being on the podcast today. And I do love that my viewers, had the opportunity to meet you and just see how amazing you are. So you guys, in next week's episode, I'm going to be talking about consistency. Isn't that funny? You may be amazing at what you do, but if you don't consistently show up for your audience, you won't be successful. So mark that one on your calendars. And you guys, if you are listening on any of the podcast platforms, do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you are subscribed to my podcast and hit that bell notification and let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments. You can find me on all the other socials like Instagram and Facebook at Sonnets Garden Blooms, and I post a lot more content over there. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.